Welcome everyone. My name is Alison Beckwith, Chief Executive Officer here at Banyule City Council, and it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this very important and exciting meeting tonight. This is a statutory council meeting that has been scheduled in order to deal with the matters prescribed in the meeting agenda as published on Council's website to transact the business of the determination of the Mayor and Deputy Mayor term, the election of Banyule City Council's Mayor, the election of Banyule City Council's Deputy Mayor, and the appointment of councillor delegates on relevant advisory, population and external committees. There is no opportunity for public questions or requests to speak at tonight's statutory meeting. The election of the Mayor and Deputy Mayor is undertaken in accordance with Chapter 2, Part B of Council's Governance Rules and the Local Government Act 2020. I officially open the meeting at 7 p.m. Our meeting is being held on the traditional land of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and on behalf of Banyule City Council, I wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians, and I would also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung elders, past, present and emerging, and to acknowledge other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders joining us today. I'll just read Council's diversity statement. Council is committed to and values diversity within our community. I will now read the statement. Our community is made up of diverse cultures, beliefs, abilities, bodies, sexualities, ages and genders. We are committed to access, equity, participation and rights for everyone. Principles which empower, foster harmony and increase the well-being of an inclusive community. Tonight's meeting is being live streamed via Council's website and Facebook pages. The live stream is not interactive. Any comments or private messages directed to us while the stream is live will not be presented to the councillor group or have any bearing on tonight's conduct of this meeting. I extend a warm welcome to everyone in the gallery and those of you watching us from home. We ask that members of the gallery please check their phones and ensure that they're either switched off or on silent mode to avoid any disruptions tonight. We also ask that should any members of the gallery depart the chamber while the meeting is in progress, that you please do not hold conversations in the immediate foyer or downstairs area, as the noise does reverberate back into this room and it impact our live stream, and I thank you in advance for that. I will now introduce you to the councillors in attendance tonight, and I will start on my left. So we have Councillor Peter Castaldo, Councillor Tom Malikan, Councillor Peter Di Morales and Councillor Alison Champion. And the councillors to my right, Councillor Rick Garotti, Councillor Elizabeth Neely and Councillor Mark Di Pasquale. This evening we are also joined by Council's executive team. We have Mark Gilio, Director of Corporate Services, Natasha Swan, Director of City Development, and Darren Bennett, Director of Assets and City Services, and Kath Brackett, Director of Community Wellbeing. Also joining us tonight are members from our governance, communications and IT teams. And we thank you all for participating in tonight's meeting. We do have apologies from Councillor Fiona Mitsonikos and Councillor Alida McKern, who are unwell and unable to make it tonight. Councillors, I can confirm that there are no conflicts of interest for tonight's meeting, as you are exempt from that under the Local Government Act 2020. Pursuant to our governance rules and the Local Government Act 2020 requirements, I'll be chairing the meeting until the Mayor is duly elected. Once the Mayor is elected, the Mayor will take over the role of chairperson and officiate the election of the Deputy Mayor and the appointment of councillor delegates to advisory, population and external committees. Councillors, we will now proceed to the first item on the agenda, which is the determination of the mayoral and deputy mayor term. Item 1 on the agenda is to determine the mayoral term. Councillors, there is an officer report before you as set out in the agenda papers. Is there a mover for this item? Councillor Garotti. And is there a seconder? Councillor Malikan. I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? And I call that motion carried. Thank you. Before we move on to the election of the Mayor, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Peter Castaldo on his term of the role of Mayor of Banyule City Council in the 22-23 year. And I now call upon any councillors who may also wish to thank and reflect on Peter's mayoral term. Councillor Melican.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Peter, but I'd also like to congratulate his family. Tremendous support, I think, throughout the whole year, and it enabled Peter to perform the role he has done. And you have to say he's represented us very well. Every function you go to, Peter's there with his happy, smiling face, ad-libbing speeches, and really adding that personal touch to everything. So he has worked extremely hard. But during the year, I did notice that we did the waste reform, which was a significant reform, and I think that's had the desired outcome, and that was certainly driven and championed by Peter. Action around climate change has also been one of his real strengths and one of his real passions, and what he's worked extremely hard on and kept up front of mind for us. Infrastructure, I think of the Belfield Centre, which is a beautiful, beautiful new community space we've opened during this term on the last year. But also his inclusion, and I know he's on the Reconciliation Action Plan, sorry, shouldn't I? And I know he's really engaged, and I think our engagement to the Reconciliation Banyule Committee and to the organisation has been exceptional. And the Citizen of the Year, who was here tonight, played a huge role in that as well. So I think we did a very good job there. But the other big highlight for Peter's year was the power purchasing agreement, which allowed us to purchase 100% renewable power and locked in a price that was far cheaper than we would got elsewhere. So, and that was driven by Peter. So on behalf of, well, not on behalf, but on behalf of myself, I'd like to congratulate you on a great, very hard-working year. I think you look back with pride on what you have achieved, and you certainly made a lot of friends and represented the city very well.
Thank you, Councillor Melican. Any other councillor? Councillor Garotti.
Yeah, thank you, CEO. Yeah, look, I think Councillor Melican touched on some of the achievements during the year as a council that Councillor Castaldo presided over as Mayor, but we also adopted the urban forest strategy. I think a strategy which will hold us into really good stead in the future. Urban food, something a bit new and different, but again, a big strategy. And I think as well, an achievement that I think that we'll reflect upon as a council over the last year was just, and we did that through the budget process, was just beginning to reorient the budget a little bit and working really closely with our officers to pull back on some projects, to pull back on a bit of operating expenditure. You know, and I think that's a credit to Councillor Castaldo being Mayor through that process, because it's not an easy thing to do. But we know that you know, that's going to help set up the council, you know, for future success. And I'd just like to acknowledge that and pay thanks to that leadership through that process. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Grotti. Any other councillor? Councillor Neely.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank Councillor Peter Castaldo for his term. He's taken the time to meet with the community upon request, in person, at events, during committee meetings. I'm on the Audit and Risk Committee and the Reconciliation Committee, and he would just attend just to keep abreast of what was going on, not as a formal delegate, to show his support and, you know, be on top of things. He goes through his council papers with a fine-tooth comb. He spends a lot of time on them, reading them, responding to emails, and to ensure he gets everything right. That's been his overall approach this year. He's passionate about action on climate change, and he's continuously advocating for council to take action. Importantly, that we don't rely on offsets whilst on the journey to carbon neutrality. Just trying to think of other things. Councillor Castaldo was proud of the implementation of FOGO. I know before I was even a councillor, he did a lot of work behind the scenes, and now he's very happy and reminds us that 40 truckloads of waste is diverted to landfill every month. I'm also proud to be on council that has adopted the Uluru Statement in full this term, showing leadership and, you know, calling for that truth, telling and reconciliation. So thank you, Councillor Castaldo, for looking towards a better future for Banyule residents, particularly from sticking to your beliefs and not straying from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Neely. Any other councillor? Councillor De Pasquale.
Thank you. This year has been exceptionally challenging for many of our councillors, I think staff also, and for many in our community. 12 months ago, I did not vote for Peter to be our mayor, and this time last year he stated that he would work to show those who didn't vote for him that it's a good decision. Now, how well is the councillor group functioning as a unit? Through the last year, I've not received much support for problems that I needed to solve in my ward, in my local area. These include 15 Alex Court, Greensborough, 10 Aminia Court, Greensborough, 143 Main Street, Greensborough, Briar Hill access to the Plenty Trail, and the crime and safety issues in the Greensborough area are getting worse and worse, to name a few. And I wonder if I'm the only councillor in this situation. This year I've never seen as much disconnection between the councillor group and the councillors. I've also never seen such poor communication between councillors and staff. And from the community, this year I've received the most emails and calls on a daily basis ever, residents from all areas of the municipality writing and calling to inform me of their issues and plights as agenda items come to council meetings. There's never been such escalation of issues as there has been over the last 12 months. The Mayor should be the spokesperson for the councillor group, but what I saw was numerous planning and community issues brought to this council that should have been decided under delegation. I saw many episodes of community angst, agitation and discontent, more than I have in many years. So how has this year gone? Well, I see the councillor group limping to the Christmas break for a rest. I don't see an inspired group of leaders being held in high esteem by our community. I don't see the community thanking us for the decisions we are making. I see the community saying, you're getting it wrong. I look forward to the time when the community can have its say again.
Thank you, Councillor De Pasquale. Any other councillor wishing to speak? No. Councillor Castaldo, I extend an opportunity for you to reflect on your year.
Firstly, I'd welcome Councillor De Pasquale to send me an email with those. I'm not familiar with any of those issues that I haven't worked on this year. But look, I'd firstly like to acknowledge all of the support I've had from my fellow councillors, and I think you've said most of the things that I'm really proud of already this evening. It was a great honour and privilege to have been elected Mayor at Banyule City Council last year, and I thank all of you who had the confidence in me and supported me in my role. Firstly, to my fellow councillors, thank you for a great year. We're all such different people, strong-willed, with convictions that push and pull in different directions. But when it comes to decision-making, we work hard to consider the views of others and to deliver an outcome that we can all get behind as a united council whenever possible. To the staff at council, the executive team, managers, and everyone that I've had the honour to work with, it's been a special pleasure to have worked more closely with you all this year. I've developed a deeper respect and gratitude for all that you do in our community. A special thank you to our CEO, Alison Beckwith, whom the Mayor has a special and important relationship with. Thank you. It's been an absolute joy working with you. Your deep commitment to your job and our community as CEO is obvious for all to see. The trust you build in the team fills me with great hope and optimism that we at Banyule have a beautiful and productive future ahead of us with a can-do attitude. The Council has continued to move forward with important strategic plans and policies and important public infrastructure. My favourite part of the job as Mayor was to spend time with our community, where we truly celebrate the diversity and work hard to ensure everyone feels welcomed and included. Leaving no one behind and moving our municipality forward so future generations can have a beautiful place to live are driving forces for me and an approach our council has been taking for some time. I've been fortunate to help steer us on that journey for the last year. Thank you to all who work in this space and have worked with the council and myself. Watching the delivery of some of the major projects, like the Belfield Community Hub and sporting ground upgrades, has been a great moments, as has been the increased activation of the Ivanhoe Library and Culture Hub, which will leave our community better off with much richer public spaces for people to connect in. I must make a special mention for our outgoing Citizen of the, or the past Citizen of the Year, and our future or current Citizen of the Year, both present this evening. You've both made tremendous contributions in the past, and I anticipate you will into the future as well. Careful long-term financial planning, as Councillor Garotti mentioned, often likes to mention to us, was a challenge this year, and we've built a foundation that will stand us well into the future. How far and how fast we have moved on delivering our major projects and initiatives is a subject we discuss at great length amongst us. Sustainability and environmental initiatives have remained strategic with a maximum environmental impact, has been a focus of councillors' attention as we move to a cleaner and more sustainable economy. We are moving to 100% electric facilities and transport entirely supplied by wind and sun, and we will not be relying on offsets to achieve carbon neutrality. Our waste service has undergone its largest structural change as we've adopted the FOGO program, and we now recover more than 2/3 of all waste leaving properties, setting us up in the right direction for our Towards Zero Waste goals. We've rolled out our next stage in our urban forest strategy to support our rich biodiversity, an area that has such potential going forward. We live in a rapidly changing time, and the nature of community participation and consultation is changing. It's essential the community's voice is listened to, and we as councillors are in a privileged place where we receive so much information. It's imperative that we lead on important matters. It's critical for our community's success. I have no doubt we have a bright future ahead of us while we continue to work in good faith and dedication and focus our energy and time on addressing important matters with well-informed optimism. I'll finish with a special thank you to my family and partner, Monique, and to my kids. You're the best and the driving inspiration to me to further enrich this beautiful world we live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Castaldo. And on behalf of the group, we do have a little gift for you later on tonight when we're joined in the Withers room for refreshments. So thank you on behalf of the group. So now we move to the exciting part of the night that you're all here for. So we'll move to item 2 of the agenda, which is the election of the Mayor. The office of the Mayor became vacant today on Monday the 13th of November, and I now call for nominations for the role of Mayor for the period from the 13th of November 2023 until the 26th of October 2024. Any nominations? Councillor Grotti?
Yeah, thank you, Chief Executive. I'd like to nominate Councillor Malikan.
And so that was Councillor Grotti nominating Councillor Malikan. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Castaldo has seconded the nomination. Councillor Malikan, do you accept the nomination? That is a yes. Do I have any other nominations for Mayor?
I nominate Councillor Peter de Morales.
Thank you, Councillor Castaldo. Councillor De Pasquale, sorry about that. Do we have a seconder for the nomination? Yep, Councillor Neely is the seconder for that nomination, and Councillor De Morales, do you accept that nomination?
I do.
You do. Thank you. Councillors, as there are 2 nominations tonight, we'll take a vote on each nomination. So we have Councillor Malikan and Councillor De Morales that have been nominated, and the voting will take place in order of the nominations as they were received. So I'll now put the vote for Councillor Malikan. Councillors, please show your hand if you're supporting this nomination. And those against? Thank you. So we have a majority of 4, Councillor Malikan. So that is an absolute majority is received for the first nomination, and so I duly declare Councillor Malikan elected as Mayor. Congratulations. So we'll just put the chains on Councillor Malikan and give him the chairing. And while Councillor Malikan is taking a seat, I might invite any councillors that wish to congratulate the incoming Mayor, Councillor Malikan. Councillor Grotti.
Congratulations, Mayor. Look, I think I'll keep my comments brief in the sense that I think there is a bit of work to do next year, and it is and very true to comments about our outgoing Mayor. But I think there is a bit of work to be done, just around helping to bring the group back together. And I think you're very well positioned to do that, and you'll have my full support in those endeavours. And I wish you very well with that, Councillor Malikan.
Thank you, Councillor Grotti. Any other councillors? Councillor Castaldo.
I'd also like to congratulate you, Councillor Malikan. You've always been a wonderful contributor to this community, to your fellow councillors. You've always worked to bringing us together, and I'm very proud to be part of a council group that has you as the Mayor and to represent us to the broader community. So thank you for all your work in the past, and I'm very pleased tonight to see you in that role. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Castaldo. Any other councillors? Councillor Neely.
Thank you. Councillor Malikan has an incredible breadth and depth of knowledge, not only about Banyule Council, but on issues that councils face across Victoria and even Australia. He brings the big picture to the councillor group, and he calls for action on things like better infrastructure, climate initiatives and social opportunities. He genuinely cares about the community, which is why he listens to all our community consultations and feedback on strategies like the FOGO rollout, the Inclusive Employment Program information sessions, consultation, planning meetings, objectives meetings, you name it, he's there. And you can always rely on him to be there. I just also like to mention that he cares about the provision of affordable housing, anti-gambling reforms and better shared user paths in the North East Link. He's been a strong advocate for that. So, you know, being across our committees of council, being across the community needs is what he's all about. And he will always voice his opinion. Doesn't matter what the issue is, doesn't matter if everyone's against him, he will voice his opinion, and he has my support for all of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Neely. Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor De Pasquale.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mayor Malikan. I'm sure it'll be a great year for you. I'm actually very uncomfortable for you to be our mayor at this stage. Councillor Malikan is our most senior councillor, being on council for onwards 20 years. But over recent times there have been a few instances where he should have stood up and said something, but he didn't. Councillors and staff have been openly ridiculed and degraded in this chamber like I've never seen before over all my years as a councillor, and not one word from our leader. He has allowed the culture of Banyule Council to be killed right in front of our eyes. And with God as my witness, upon who I swore my oath as a councillor many years ago, I will not stand by and let such cowardly actions go unanswered. In this day and age, poor and inappropriate behaviour needs to be called out and dealt with. I spoke with Councillor Malikan and asked him when he contacted me with regards to him putting his hand up as for the mayoral role. And I asked him whether he'll be contesting the next election. He could neither confirm or deny whether he would be. So therefore, I'm a bit uncomfortable having a mayor in the seat now who will not be facing the judge possibly next year at the upcoming election. So that's a free hit to do whatever one likes, as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see another year of declining financial sustainability for Banyule Council. We'll also see further declining reputation of Banyule Council, and this will be very, very disappointing. So I'll be looking for this next year to be, for the mayor, particularly to hold councillors to account when it happens, and not to let the actions that they have over the last few months continue on, because it's just totally toxic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor De Pasquale. Any other councillor? Councillor De Morales.
Thank you, CEO. Congratulations, Tom. Look, we know you're a leader. You definitely are somebody that gets in touch with the majority of the councillors. I think you know, whether it was yourself or myself, I think this council is going to be in good hands. And I look forward to you bringing this council together after a challenging year. And probably with the re-election coming as well, I know that you'll be also holding people accountable, as Councillor De Pasquale said. But I do support you, and I think it's going to be a good year. So looking forward to it.
Thank you, Councillor De Morales. Any other councillor? No? So before I hand over the chairing to the new mayor, Councillor Malikan, you may wish to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, we all have our challenges, but I'm certainly up to it. And if we talk about commitment, anyone in this room that knows me knows I have commitment, and I will do my best every occasion, no matter what. So I can assure my fellow councillors that I am committed to this council and to this area. But I look at what we have got, and we have got fantastic staff, absolutely top-notch staff, starting from the CEO down. And we're very lucky people. Look around you. Look at this beautiful building. Look at the residents we have. Look at the number of volunteers we have. Look at our public spaces, our parks and gardens. This is a beautiful city, and we're privileged enough to try our best to look after it. We're not here to fight amongst ourselves. We're here to do the best for Banyule. And as Peter talked about his family, my family's here tonight. Your family gives up a lot for you to be on council. It is difficult, time-consuming, and at times you can be quite torn between issues. But it's our families the reason we do this job. so that they can live in a better place and enjoy a better world. That's why we do this job. And as I said the other day at the water market, passion is what drives a lot of people. Brains and looks get you a fair way, but it's passion that drives you. And if you've got that passion, you can achieve anything. And I think if we unite as a council, we can achieve whatever we've had our minds to achieve. So I am committed to supporting this council group. As Councillor Di Pasquale said, I've been here for 20 years. Years of service and age make no difference. It's all about your attitude. And I believe I have as much energy, as much passion and as much desire as I did day one in this joint. So I thank my fellow councillors for supporting me, and I'm committed to bring this council together and make it even better. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll hand over to the new mayor, who will take on the chairing of the meeting from this point.
Before the election of the Deputy Mayor takes place, I'd like to congratulate Alida McKern, who's unwell tonight and can't be in attendance, on a term as Deputy Mayor of Banyule, 22-23. I call upon any councillors who wish to reflect on her term as Deputy Mayor. Councillor Castaldo.
It's unfortunate she couldn't be here tonight, but struck with COVID. It's not something that anyone wants. So, look, I'd just like to thank the outgoing Deputy Mayor for the work over the last year, dedicated to the local community, and hard work across planning, urban forest, sporting infrastructure, and especially the urban food strategy that she devoted so much time to. Her commitment to the strategy was huge, and that dedication deserves to be commended. She has certainly made a mark on the community, and congratulations, Councillor McKern, on another productive year.
Any other councillors wish to make a comment? Councillor Neely.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor McKern has been proactive, as Councillor Castaldo mentioned, and important in the development of the urban food strategy. And it's in line with addressing the growing need of food security and access to healthy food for Banyule residents. She's strongly supported the awareness and opportunities to grow more food within the municipality. She's also keen on seeing measurable outcomes come to fruition from Council's urban forest strategy, and she did fight for an increase in our projected canopy cover, raising the bar for Banyule, and we acknowledge more seriously that trees are part of our valuable infrastructure as they add to the health and well-being of the community. So I thank Councillor McKern who's given a lot of time to the role of Deputy Mayor, and her participation in community consultations and events. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comments? I'd just like to pass on my thanks to Councillor McKern and her work this year. She did have a lot of barrows to push, and she certainly pushed them. I think about the Waterdale Road Park just down the road, which has been open, and she really championed that project. The Oldhamore Way Bridge, which I crossed tonight coming here, something that she's advocated quite strongly for, hasn't got the outcome she would like, but I know she continue to push on that one. And as you said, the urban forest, I know Peter took a lead, but a leader was certainly right at all those consultation meetings. And the fact that we planted 10,000 additional street trees this year was certainly driven and helped along by the Deputy Mayor and her push for greening Banyule. But also I know Councillor Garotti led the hardship policy around our rating, but it was a hardship policy was supported by the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, and I think we'd be one of the only councils in Victoria that actually gives people suffering hardship a rate reduction. And we don't talk about it much, but that's significant, and it can make a real difference to whether people can continue to stay in their own homes or have to move out. So I think Councillor McKern was certainly like that. but it was planning that really was her big passion, and the heritage study, the neighbourhood character review and the housing policy was what really kept her up at night, I think. So she was very advocate, very committed, very forthright in her opinion, but she was a real driver behind all those strategies. So, and no one could ever question Councillor McKern's work ethic. She turned up at every meeting, having read every report, and was right across all the issues. So she had a great year. Pity she couldn't be here tonight, but I'd like to thank her for her efforts. So we'll move on to the election of the Deputy Mayor. I'd like to call for nominations for the Deputy Mayor period from the 13th of November to the 26th of October. Councillor Costello.
I nominate Councillor Garotti.
Councillor Garotti. Is there a second of that? Councillor Neely. Are there any further nominations? Oh, sorry. Councillor Garotti, do you accept that nomination? Thank you. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Councillor Di Pasquale.
Councillor De Moros has nominated Councillor Di Pasquale. Is there a seconder for that?
I will second.
Councillor Di Pasquale. So we have two nominations, Councillor Garotti and Councillor Di Pasquale. We'll take the vote in the order of nominations. I'll put the vote. Those support Councillor Garotti, please raise your hand. Those against? I declare Councillor Garotti duly elected as the Deputy Mayor of Banyule City Council. Would anyone like to say a few words and congratulate Councillor Castaldo?
I'd just like to acknowledge the significant work and time that Councillor Garotti puts into council work. He provides a different lens, being an accountant with fine financial background, and a valuable contribution in that area, but also in other areas in governance and right across the board. Whenever we have council agendas come out, you're straight onto them and getting involved, and your significant contributions are the reasons why I think you are the best person for the Deputy Mayor. So congratulations on the appointment this evening, and I look forward to supporting you in your role and the rest of the councillor group. Thank you.
Any other councillors like to say a few words? Councillor Neely.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Garotti is a very dedicated councillor. He made an extra effort to ensure that residents experiencing financial hardship, that's already been mentioned, has had that opportunity for financial assistance. He's also passionate about assisting residents facing barriers to employment so that they have that opportunity to engage with Council's inclusive employment program, giving them connections and giving them more skills confidence. Another pilot project that Councillor Garotti has strongly endorsed is the Banyule Community Bus, which has dedicated drop-off and pick-up points for Banyule residents, giving them an opportunity to get out of the house and engage with services. So it's still in the pilot stage, but it's a good initiative. Councillor Garotti's keen on keeping the municipality refreshed and rejuvenated, they're his words, advocating for that on-the-ground action to upgrade council assets so that the community has access to those high-quality, maintained footpaths, sports pavilions, and assets that people expect high quality on and delivered by council. Not to mention his experience as a chartered accountant. He brings expertise and commitment to council, therefore has my support. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other councillors? Councillor Di Pasquale.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations, Deputy Mayor Garotti. Over the years, much dedication, very hard-working. That goes without saying. Thank you very much for your continued support for the community, or leadership of the community. This evening, unfortunately, I couldn't support you as Deputy Mayor. So unfortunately, and the reason being is because I'm representing from my community, or as a representative of my community, back in 2020, when Councillor Grotti was our Mayor, he was investigated by the Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Commission, and he resigned as our Mayor. The number of calls and emails I got after that was significant. After such an action, I could not support him before the community has had their opportunity to support him again as their ward representatives at the next election. If the community collectively vote for him as their representative, then I would consider support, but I could not endorse him as our Deputy Mayor before they have had their say. Councillor Grotti also needs to be responsible for Council's financial position. We've been on a steady decline for a few years now. Now we have our budgets are running in deficit, and it's unacceptable considering the warnings of inflation and rising costs of living were raised back in 2020 when Council's finances were still in surplus. So there's a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just say a few words. Just fascinating that every decision made by this council is made by the entire councillor group, and no individual councillor makes any decision by himself. So, and I'd also like to say, well, Councillor Grotti's performance, character, culture on this council has been exemplary. So I cannot understand any reason why we would not consider him to be our Deputy Mayor when he brings such intelligence, commitment and financial knowledge to this council, because it is a real asset to this council. And I know every time I have a little wish list or something I'd like to, I know that I have to make sure I have the best argument, because I know Councillor Grotti will question any expenditure we have, and that's the whole point of having a council, is that you get a variety of views so you make the best possible decision. And I think he brings that knowledge and understanding of financial matters, and I think this council is better for it. So I'm very happy to support him, and I know he'll commit to this, he'll do an excellent job, and he works very hard, and very happy to have Councillor Grotti as the Deputy Mayor. And I'll call on Councillor Grotti to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And firstly, I'd just like to start off by thanking the council for supporting me in this position. I'm very grateful and very humble and honoured. This will be the second time now that I have the opportunity to serve as Deputy Mayor. I remember the first time that I was able to provide that service to Councillor Champion, and that was all the way back in 2020. So it was a COVID year, and I think we really worked exceptionally well together in partnership. One of the things that I was proud of in being able to support our Mayor at the time was instituting the collaborative document process and a mechanism for capturing all the councillor input ahead of meetings and briefings when we weren't able to do so in person. So I think we really complemented and supported one another. And later on in the agenda, I hope that we can continue our work together on the library board. I look forward to providing that service and loyal service to Councillor Malikan. Councillor Malikan was the Deputy Mayor in the year that I was Mayor, and I think it's well known that that didn't end, that there were challenges there. And I think Councillor Malikan stepped up as not only a support to me, but to this council and to this community, and throughout this term has demonstrated, in my view, exceptional leadership that is not seen in the public. It's what happens behind closed doors. It's the phone calls, it's the checking in, it's the tic-tacking and making sure you're okay, and that briefing didn't go so well, or Rick, I know your motion didn't get up tonight, are you okay? There's a lot of work that goes into keeping a group cohesive and supportive, and Councillor Malikan has done that all throughout this term. He is our oldest councillor and he is our longest serving, but that wisdom and seniority that he brings has been instrumental, I think, in keeping us together as a group. And I think it's obvious to the public and obvious to staff that are watching that there has been some friction and there has been some challenges. I fully acknowledge, comments made by Councillor Di Pasquale, and I accept them, and I accept that that there's work to be done, and I accept that there's a challenge ahead for us to just re-establish some of that cohesiveness. We are a strong council, and I think we are fully unified behind our Chief Executive. I hope I can say that. And I think that's really important for our staff to understand, particularly as we head into an election year. The council is in a strong position financially, but there are challenges. And what we've been good at doing as a council is being forward-looking and trying to anticipate those challenges and putting in corrective actions before they become major issues. So I'm really looking forward to being a loyal deputy and to showing the community and the council, I suppose, potentially as a little bit of a contrast to the previous year around how two leaders can work really well together and complement one another, and I look forward to providing that service to you, Mayor, and to our council. And I look forward to us as a council being able to put our best position forward to the community and being able to say, look, this is what we achieved over the last 4 years, and judge us on that record. One of the things that I committed to at the last council meeting was to look at some open forums and some open dialogue, which I think is important in the year that'll be next year to get that feedback and to engage with the community in those ways. But I think tonight is also, and looking at all our colleagues, and in particular looking at Councillor Di Pasquale, that I think tonight is an opportunity for us to get together and accept a majority decision of this council to unify as a group and to work together for what we're elected to do and paid to do, which is to collaborate together to achieve the best outcomes for this council. And that's what I'm committed to doing, and that's what I'm asking each and every one of my colleagues. Thank you, Mayor.
Well said. We'll move on to the appointment of council delegates to committees. The final item on the agenda tonight. Annually, councils appoint council delegates to the council advisory committees and external committees. I'd ask Kirsten Fort, Manager of Governance and Integrity, to read out the recommendations and appointments to those committees. Thank you, Kirsten.
Thank you, Councillor Malikan. On the screen before you, councillors, gallery and those in the live stream, or dialing into the live stream rather, you'll see here we have a range of internal committees, population advisory committees and also external committees. Councillors have nominated Councillor Elizabeth Neely, Councillor Rick Garotti and a substitute being Councillor Alison Champion for the Audit and Risk Committee for the next term or year to come. The CEO Employment Matters Committee contains all 9 councillors. The Banyul Arts and Culture Advisory Committee councillors have nominated Councillor Elizabeth Neely as the delegate, Councillor Peter Castaldo as the second delegate and Councillor Alison Champion as the councillor substitute. For the Banyul Environment and Climate Action Advisory Committee, also known as BCAC, Councillor Alida McKern has been nominated as the councillor delegate with Councillor Tom Malikan, the Mayor, as the councillor substitute. Inclusive Banyul Advisory Committee, councillor delegate will be Councillor Tom Malikan as the Mayor. Councillor delegate number 2 will be Councillor Peter Castaldo and then Councillor Alison Champion as the councillor substitute. For the Reconciliation Action Plan Advisory Committee, also known as the RAP, we have Councillor Elizabeth Neely as the councillor delegate, Councillor Peter Castaldo as the second delegate and Councillor Peter Dimarellos as councillor's substitute. Age Friendly City Advisory Committee, Peter Castaldo is the councillor delegate and Councillor Tom Malikan as the substitute. For the Disability and Inclusion Committee, we have the Mayor, Councillor Tom Malikan, and the councillor substitute, as the delegate, and the councillor substitute, Councillor Alison Champion. For the LGBTIQA plus committee, there is Councillor Alison Champion for the councillor delegate and Councillor Elizabeth Neely for the councillor substitute. Multicultural committee, Councillor Peter Castaldo as the councillor delegate and Councillor Fiona Metsinikos as the councillor substitute. And we move on to external committees. So we have for the Metropolitan Transport Forum, Councillor Tom Malikan as the councillor delegate and Councillor Peter De Morelos as the councillor substitute. For the Northern Alliance for Greenhouse Action, NAGA, we have Councillor Leda McKern as the councillor delegate and Councillor Tom Malikan as the substitute. The Northern Council Alliance, the councillor delegate will be the Mayor, Councillor Tom Malikan, and the councillor substitute being the Deputy Mayor, being Councillor Rick Garotti. And the Yarra Plenty Regional Library Board will be Councillor Alison Champion as the councillor delegate, with Councillor Rick Garotti as the second delegate and Councillor Elizabeth Neely as the councillor substitute. And the last two, we have Yarra Plenty Regional Library Audit Committee. They're determined by the board, so they have not yet been determined tonight. And the Municipal Association of Victoria, the MAV Committee for State Council, Councillor Elizabeth Neely as the councillor delegate and Councillor Tom Malikan as the councillor substitute.
Thank you. I'd ask the councillor to move those recommendations. Move Councillor Champion, seconded Councillor Castaldo. Would you like to speak? Would you like to speak?
I'd just like to acknowledge all the councillors that have made an effort to join committees. The committees are the best place to get an education on what's going on in our community, hear feedback, and I think when we see the names up on the board, you know who's committed to this community. Councillor Neely, Councillor Malikan, Councillor Garotti, and other councillors, Champion and Peter De Morelos, are all on it, as well as Leda McKern and Fiona. There's only one that isn't. But I'd just like to acknowledge everyone that is participating, and I think we've got a good year ahead of us.
It becomes quite an issue on a council when chairing or being the delegate on committees is used as a bargaining chip with regards to roles in the council, with regards to deputy mayor, mayor, etc. So for a few years now, there's been comments that have been made by a couple of councillors, and I won't name them, but bringing ridicule to the amount of perceived time that one puts into the community with regards to delegated committees. Over my many years as a councillor, my role is to keep my community happy. And I think from a number of emails, phone calls that other councillors get about my area or the Bakewell area, you wouldn't hear much from my area. It's all taken care of. Whereas where I hear issues are from other parts of municipality, particularly in the south, where things aren't dealt with as much respect, or probably with as much openness and taking the community along. So I actually take it as quite an offence to be singled out by a former mayor with regards to the delegates and committees, and I think it's and I think in a public forum, I think possibly an apology would be in order. I think it's out of order. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor Neely.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been very lucky to be on a lot of the committees of council. For me, I've had a really good experience learning from different community groups that have expertise in their areas and listening to their concerns in Banyule, which is very different across other different municipalities. As councillors, we have to be across huge agendas in planning, in environment, in finance, in a range of community services that we offer. And these committees provide a lot of insight into, on the ground, how people are going, feeling in these different areas. So for me, it's been an honour to be able to be on more than one committee as part of my journey as a councillor. Thank you, Mayor. Councillor
Garotti.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to comment on the Yarra, the library board. If you talk to the community, one of the key things that they identify of council delivering are library services. And yet Councillor Champion and I have identified that it never comes up to council anything to do with libraries, because we've obviously part of a library board where we also have the Whittlesea City Council and Nillumbik City Council. So I'm really excited to be part of the Yarra Plenty Regional Library Board again, and one of the things that we want to do is bring a report back now to the council on the library board and how it's functioning and how it's operating, and just bring that transparency back to the community. So really looking forward to doing that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Yes. Any other? Yeah, the committees are extremely important. The external committees, particularly, a bit sad that I'm no longer on the MAV, because that is a very enjoyable. But the MTF, I think, is one of the real privileges to be a councillor. You do get the opportunity to experience so many different things. And our community-based committees, we have a wonderful group of volunteers who come along and lend their expertise and teach us so much and tell us what it's like out there for people with different abilities, different stages of life. And it's wonderful to hear that, so we can make better informed decisions. So being on these committees is a privilege. It's a very good learning curve, as Councillor Castaldo said as well, but it is one of the real privileges to have that opportunity to experience so much knowledge, but just understand how some people live differently to us, and some people need different services. And being on those committees, you get to a much greater understanding of the whole community, and it is a wonderful thing. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried. The best part. So that concludes the meeting of the formal procedure for the evening, and the next council meeting will be on the 20th of November next week. Closing the meeting at 7:51. Thank you for your attendance, and please join us for a quick nibble and something to drink in the room next door. That'd be lovely. Thank you, everybody.